Welcome, welcome. This is Tauna Batiste, and this is going to be a fun mastermind. Tonight, we're talking about getting our tactical plans together so that you can use it. I am Tauna Batiste, founder and CEO of Drew Alexander Consulting. We are a strategy and leadership development group. We provide strategic advising and leadership development to nonprofits and small businesses across the nation. I'm so pleased to be here with you. I am an early adopter of Barter Black, and so it's just such a pleasure to be with you all this evening. And I just want to tell you the truth. This is one of those times when I can use my real life examples in my work. Today has been, well, this week really. I have a family member who is having major surgery tomorrow. And between the travel and the jet lag and all of the snafus that have happened, this has been one of those things where I logged in to get my session started at my temporary location and the internet would not connect. And so I've spent the last hour running about trying to get to and fro to make sure that I could be here with you. And so I appreciate your patience with me. So let's talk about it. In my work, and as small businesses, we are constantly working in spaces in which we are creating plans and strategy that we want to do a thing for us. We want it to become um, the strategy that takes us to the next level. And what I find is that we often have really amazing thoughts and ideas and goals, but sometimes we're not clear on how to get from I'm dreaming or what I'm thinking to what is making me dollars and helping my business grow. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is what are some of the ways in which we can um, create tactical plans that are giving us what we need. And so I want to start there. So let's talk about the difference between a tactical plan and a strategic plan. With a tactical plan, and I apologize, my slides are somewhere in the midst, but with all the internet troubles, what I'll do is I'll make sure that they are attached as an attachment to this. So a strategy to me, and the way I describe it to my clients is a strategy is the pretty brochure that you see when you're thinking about going on vacation and you look at the resort and you see this beautiful um, location, and it's the beach and it's the sun and it's the people with their adult beverages and they're smiling and everything's glossy. That's what a strategic plan is. It's a goal, right? That's our goals. It's a place that we're landing. A tactical plan is the map or the recipe to get there. So for us, if I said my strategic plan is that vacation spot, wonderful. But a tactical plan is I have to book flights. I have to pack a bag. I have to shop for the things that I'm going to put in the bag. I have to save for the flight. The tactical plan breaks down that larger strategic goal into bite sized pieces that I can follow to get to that goal, right? So when we're doing this, there's a couple steps that I'm going to encourage you to take on and make it easy for you to translate your goals and to make sure first that we have smart goals, but translate those goals into a tactical plan. So I take my clients, and I'm going to invite you to do this with me. Just take out a piece of paper, and we're going to talk about the start, stop, continue. So what the start, stop, continue framework is a framework that says I'm going to look at what I want to start in my business or whatever I'm planning, my life. What do I want to start? What is the things that I want to begin? What are the things that I'm going to continue? Things that are going well, things that I'm committed to, whether it's because I'm committed because I have an agreement to do them or they are working for me. And then the things that I'm going to stop. So, what are those things that you're going to stop doing? Now, I know we talk about it in the start, stop, continue because it sounds good, right? It sounds good to say it that way. But what I want you to do is actually start with stop. And the reason that I recommend and require my clients at least to do it this way is that when we sit down and we think about what are the things that we want to stop doing, What are the things that we need to discontinue and move away from? They give us the time and the space that we need to um, provide for those things that we want to start. So when we're looking at this, I have a couple of questions for things that you want to stop. What is not working for your organization anymore? What are the things that no longer are serving you? So sometimes it is, I want to stop being overextended, or I want to stop this particular uh, event or offering because it no longer brings me joy. There's a lot of things that we are doing that we actually could stop doing. So, what are the things that you're going to stop doing today? Okay. I'm going to give you some space to think about it and hear the things. All right. I love. So, here's some additional questions that you can think about in the stop. What's going to give you the mental space you need to be successful in this next season? Because I think a lot of times we take on, especially as small business owners, we take on tasks that we know can bring us dependable revenue in the beginning, or wherever you may be, those things that are dependable, but they're not necessarily the things that are profitable. And what I mean by that is that we can take on things, we can do things that we're good at, but not that don't bring us the most return. And so we want to be really intentional about that. The next step is, what are you going to start? So then, now that we know what you want to stop, what is that start thing that you want to do? Excuse me, I just got to get comfy here. So what is it that you want to start doing? What are the things that are going to help you? So for me, one of the things that I wanted to start doing this year was more conference speaking. I wanted to be involved more with my peers in that way. I wanted to get to my dream client in that way. And so I wanted to increase the number of the opportunities I had. I also wanted to diversify the contracts that we had. And so there was an effort there that's part of my goal. So what we're doing right now is we're paving the way for our goal setting. So I haven't got ahead of us. We're not looking at it based on goals. Right now, we're just brainstorming. So anything that you want to start, even if turns out that you don't start it in this year, but that you can start it in years to come, that's where we're going to go today. So tell me, what are some of those things? I'm looking at my notes. Are you ready to take the class, to go for the certification, to start a new line of business? Are you ready to create a new program, center rest as a practice? Or have you been assigned a new goal, or do you want new clients? What is it that you want to start doing this year? All right. The next one is going to be, what do you want to stop? I'm sorry, it's going to be, what do you want to continue? There are things that you have as current commitments that you must carry on. And so we have to account for them now in the time commitment. So if you think with me about what are those things that you have put your time into and you have to continue investing in that way, I want you to write down the things that you must continue and the time commitment that it takes for you. So there are um, different things, like my systems are in order and are helping me when I'm going to continue doing those. I enjoy this project or this type of work. I want to keep this progress up. I want to continue moving in this way. The growth that you had in developing your business, your skill set, you want to continue that growth trend. Those are all things that you may want to continue. For us, as business owners, it can be anything from, I want to continue to attract this type of client, or I want to expand and continue this type of work line. But we want to, in this specific area, I would like for you to make sure you're noting how much of your time does that take. So for me, I lead retreats. I do a lot of facilitation work, and that is something that is on my continue list. It takes me I'm mindful of, it takes me prep time when I'm doing, and then the time that I'm committed to be with my clients. So making sure that I know exactly how much time I've committed to the things as we consider the next step. All right, you got those down? All right, so the next step is that we have to assess. So for us, we're gonna review our lists, and we're gonna let it marinate. A lot of times when we go into these planning opportunities, we can sit down and think, I'm gonna knock it all out in a day. I'm gonna block some time, and that's good, and you should, because you should be the most important appointment on your calendar. But what I really encourage you to do is to get it down and let it rest for a second. There's something beautiful that happens when you walk away from it, even if you just take, an hour break. Once you get done with this particular activity, if you take a little bit away from it, when you come back, you see it with fresh eyes, and you can add in anything that you missed. And you can it is there's a different feeling in the strategy work. So this is always something I do before a break, before a pre-lunch break type of experience. That is something that I always advise. So the next thing we're going to do is, as we look at these things, whether it's the things that we're continuing or the things that we're starting, we're going to look at the time commitment that this involves and start to think about it in a broader strategy. So for me, when I'm thinking about a tactical plan, I'm usually thinking about a plan either by the quarter or by the year. And I kind of combine both. And so if we're thinking in the course of a year, how many projects can I realistically start, given the capacity I have, and accomplish? The same for you. As you're thinking about your work day, your work life, how much capacity do you actually have, and what are you looking to accomplish within that time frame? Is it realistic? That'll matter in a minute. But we're going to look at those time commitments, and to the best of your ability, say, okay, well, listen, doing this is going to take me 3 months to get going, or this is an ongoing pull of my time, and it's going to take me 5 to 10 hours a week. Whatever it is, I want you to get familiar with the time that you're committing to things. And so once we have those things and we understand the time that's involved, you want to start to set your SMART goals. So what are our SMART goals? Our goals that are specific. So when we're thinking about it being specific, it needs to be really clear. And so then we're saying, what is measurable? Measurable means that I can come back and look at whether I accomplished the goal or not, because there is a measurement associated. I'm going to give you an example in just a moment. Is it achievable? Achievable means that I can accomplish it within the time frame that I have, which leads me to the next. Is it realistic? So while it might be achievable, is it realistic that I want to do it this year? So I give the example that it is achievable that I could run a marathon this year. It is unrealistic because I do not desire to do training for a marathon. Are there bears chasing us? I don't think so. I don't want to be a marathon runner. So while I might say it is as a specific goal to kind of give the context, I may say that my goal is in 2025 to run the Columbus Marathon and to achieve a record time this fall. So, or whenever it is run. I don't even know, because that's not something I want to do. Now, what's wrong with this goal is that it's unrealistic. If I'm not going to do the training, if I don't have the time or the space to do the training, then that's not realistic. It's also unrealistic for me to go from being a non-runner to a record-breaking marathon runner at my lovely age of over 40 in less than 6 months. That's just not realistic. So when we're setting ourselves up for these goals, sometimes we set our sales goals or we set our achievement goals far too high, where we might be looking to set a goal that says, I want to expand. Let's use my conference speaking. I want to expand my conference speaking in 2025 to include 4 opportunities, right? That is both, it is very specific, it is very measurable, in that we have the count of what am I going to have for. It is our T, which is time bound. So we're looking at in 2025. So there is some kind of guardrails there. We're also, it is a realistic goal. So 4 is not going to take more time than I have available. I have prepared talks. I have contacts and connections that I can start this process. And so, in that, we are prepared for that particular goal. So it is also achievable. Like there are no barriers in my way that will prevent me from doing that unless I don't try. Okay. And so we're going to set SMART goals. Now, as a word of caution from a strategist who regularly does this with people, I'm going to tell you that what you should be cautious of doing is creating so many goals that you're overwhelmed. So I always recommend that we start with 3 to 5. It does not mean that we're not going to get to the other things. It means that we recognize that we can overload our senses. That if you see 10 goals, while you may accomplish 10 goals this year, if you see 10 goals on the screen when you're looking at your plan, you can easily become overwhelmed and say, how can I achieve it all? How can I do it all? What am I doing? And so the key here is not to do that. The key is to create a space in which we are for, prepared for the opportunities that we have, but we do it in phases. Because one of the things that I see a lot, and I've been doing strategic plans for 20 years now, one of the things I see a lot and why people pay a lot of money and then don't use them is because they load up so much information and such high goals without a tactical plan, but it's so many that there's failure to start. So we're going to talk about that next. The next part is so once we've set our goals, so now you're setting your 3 to 5 goals. The other goals can be in the waiting, but we're going to work on 3 to 5 goals. I'm going to plug in so I don't lose a connection. And so we're going to look at the essentials of a tactical plan. Your tactical plan is always going to be time and task oriented. You need to be focused on a specific space of time and understand that a tactical plan is based on the actual tasks needed to accomplish your goals and not necessarily the goal specific, right? So you're looking at, if I want to make an apple pie as my strategic goal, the things that I am looking at is, as a task, could be 1, gather your ingredients. 2, set the stage and make sure you have all of your tools. 3, preheat your oven. 4, start to prepare your ingredients. You see how it's like step based? And if I were setting a tactical plan of that nature, of that length in time, I would have a time frame, right? I need the pie to be ready at X time, and we're going to reverse engineer. So that's another point of the tactical plan. Essentials of a tactical plan is that you reverse engineer. I know by when I need the goal to be accomplished, and so I look at the end and work my way back so that I can understand how to set up what needs to be done. I'm also going to say that I needed to make it make sense to me. So my plan and my tasks may not make sense to you. If you're looking to grow your audience, or like, our approach can be very different, right? But what needs to happen is that I am aware of my plan and it makes sense to me, and it's going to get me to where I'm going. And then fourth, the most important key out of all of this, and I tell this all the time, flexibility is the most important part of a tactical plan. And why is that? Things like today, where I started in one location, ready to prepare, had all of the things. Listen, y'all are getting me freestyle, not made up, not done, makeup not done, because there's no time for that when the internet's not working. Different outfit that I would want to wear for this opportunity, because I had to be flexible. Now, here's the lesson in today. Because of my ability to be flexible, I was able to still make it here to you and connect. I had to take a different path, right? So the path that I thought I was going to take in connection at my location wasn't working. And so I had to run out and run to another location. So we got a different backdrop than I would love. All of those things, but that's the flexibility. We are still accomplishing the goal of being together tonight, right? Of me showing up for Barter Black tonight. So it is really important for us to take this opportunity to say, listen, flexibility is going to be the key to your plan. You are going to start down the road and you might find out that you don't have all the ingredients you need, or that you need to go a different way. And you're going to be able to do that because you are mindful that to be successful, to accomplish your goal, you must be flexible. So our next component is understanding the things to avoid in our planning. So we haven't yet got to our plan. We have our goals. We are clear on the essentials of our plan, right? But I want you to avoid these pitfalls. Having unclear goals. So if your goal is too broad, if you say, I want to increase my sales by 30%, and that's the goal, that is too broad. While it has some specifics, it does not have enough. And you want to be a little bit more, have a little more clarity in what the goal is. So I want to increase my sales by 30% by increasing my B2B customers with this product in this time frame, right? So you want to be really clear. Another pitfall is resource allocation. If you actually don't have the time capacity or the other necessary resources to accomplish your goal, it's going to be a problem. It's always going to be a problem. You're not going to be able to do what you need to do if you can't set the resource to it. So you want to make sure that your resource allocation is there. Also, a pitfall can be resistance to change. Listen, we all get into the space where we are excited about the goal, but not willing to do the things to change. So I'm going to just be transparent with you. I would love to have already, we're going to say already in the past, gotten further down the road in my fitness journey than I have. But one of the things that I have been currently is resistant to change in my own space, and that I'm not getting up early enough to do all the things that I want to do. Now, that doesn't mean that I am going to fail at my goal. It means that I need to understand where that resistance is coming from. I need to address it. I need to name it. I need to own it. And I need to do something about it. Right? So that leads me to the next challenge that we can have: analysis paralysis. Now, are you a person who just thinks about all the things? Are you constantly thinking about the decisions that you're making, but never really taking those steps forward? So I just want to think about it. I haven't decided yet. If you are in that space, I'm going to challenge you to set the goals. You can always come back and update a goal, right? But we're going to set the goals and get ourselves moving forward. And then the final, really fatal flaw for a lot of people when they're in this type of planning is delayed deployment. If you don't make these decisions and then immediately start taking action on them, it can lead to failure. Honestly, the reason why I'm not further on my fitness goals is because I didn't take immediate action in that particular area. I have the room and space. And so now we have some accountability too. I have the room and space to work on that, to change that, to do something more. And so that's what we're going to do. Is I'm going to adjust. Maybe I don't have to maybe early is not the way, maybe the midday. So maybe I start blocking myself on my calendar for my goal. And this is an important tool I encourage you to use. Block time for yourself, for your own goals. Treat yourself and your goals as if you are your own client, and block time on your calendar to make sure that you are getting to those things. Now, we have gotten to what I love to do, which is the practice portion of our segment. So we're going to practice your tactical goals. Now, so what you're going to do is you're going to pick a familiar goal. So like kids returning to school, planning a vacation, an aspect of your current workload, something you're doing on a regular basis. I'll use the kids returning to school as an example. So you're going to choose the dates. So whether are we working on this by quarterly? Are we working on this by a weekly? Whatever time frame that you want to segment out into. I always um, start mine as a quarterly thing, and then I break it down by month. So I look at let's look at January, February, March as our dates, right? And I would say, let me flip it a little bit. Let's say we're preparing for spring break. Okay. So once I have my dates, so now we're looking at January and I make 3 columns, right? If that's helpful to you. I also have a template that you can utilize for this. And I will make sure that that gets attached to this as well. And so once I do that, I start with the first month. And remember, we're reverse engineering. So for me, I'm saying we're going on spring break. Spring break is going to happen in April. And so now we're doing the countdown, the reverse countdown to what needs to happen right before. So I could actually start in March. So in March, I'll be packing because it's like, let's say it's the first week of April. In March, I'm packing, which means 2 weeks before in March, also in March, I would like to be purchasing any items that I need. In February, I want to book my vehicles. I want to double check any other vendors that we need. So, are we going on excursions? Are we doing something special? Those types of things. In January, I like to book travel about 6 weeks out. So, maybe February, I'm also booking my flights and my hotel. In January, I'm setting the budget and setting aside the dollars for it. We're choosing the location, all of those things. And so we create tasks. So what we're doing is we're breaking it down so that no specific period has too much in it. If I just had 2 things to do to hit my goal every month, and if we're now switching over into business, if you just had 2 things to do that were specific and intentional, but it's going to have a great impact on you achieving your goal, who wouldn't do that? Right? But when we think we have to do everything at once, that's where we get overwhelmed. So, for my example um, of planning a vacation, we're looking at just taking small steps forward, which helps the excitement build. Those small steps help you get those dopamine hits of I did it. When I'm looking at the business side, when I talked about my conference experience, one of the things that I had for January was just to identify the conferences I wanted to be at and then research whether they had opportunities for me to speak. And then the next month was to start collecting those applications or find out those application dates and start submitting applications. And then in the next month is kind of like a reoccurring cycle. So then it was review with who I had speaking opportunities with, and then research some more and see if how many more prospects do I need to achieve my goal, and so forth and so on. And so you can do that. When we look at these opportunities, we are looking at the opportunity for us to grow and to expand our achievement of our goals. Now, I want to tell you a stat I like to share, usually at the beginning, but today we're going to do it here at this point in time. And did you know, according to Harvard researchers, 83% of the population do not have goals. 14% of the population have goals in their head but don't write them down. Only 3% of the population have goals written down with a plan. So, welcome to the 3% who are going to have goals written down and a plan. Listen, if as you get into your tactical planning, just know that it's not as hard as we make it out to be. And so I know this came across and it was really simple. Like we're going to get to a place and we're just going to write our goals down and revisit them, right? So it's not just writing them down, that immediate deployment. It means that once you have your plan written, you're going to translate that over to your your calendar system, your goal management, however you like to do that, you're going to do that. You're going to get it in so that you're taking immediate action as early as tomorrow, right? And so you're going to make sure that you are doing everything you can. It really doesn't have to be that hard. I've done this process over and over again with clients recently. I had them doing this work within as they are working through their plans. Now I have one client who is in the midst of hiring, I think, 4 people. Um, I have another client who has raised over $150,000 in just a few short weeks after she started her program. What I'm finding is this, that when we name and our intentions and we get as specific about the steps that we're going to take, God, the universe, whatever you believe, but I believe God. I believe that that energy that we are putting out there, we are matched back with it. And so when we come with intentions that are clear on what we want to accomplish and the steps that we're going to take to accomplish that, we start to get that back and it accelerates the plan. Listen, I started my process for my conference speaking, but the first opportunity I was offered called me out of the blue, and they were not on my radar. They were not on my list. It was not something that I had set up or was going after. They came to me. I don't have to travel. It was a an alignment thing, right? Like I got in an alignment. And other things on my tactical plan, I've had dream clients come and be in alignment because I am taking the steps to get to them. They are taking the steps to get to me, and we're aligned in our timing. So I know that taking these steps is going to be helpful for your business. You have big goals, you should definitely seek them out. Know that I have some offerings in the Barter Black platform, but one that I'm going to be adding in is a strategy call to discuss your tactical plans and opportunities to support you. But really, listen, I'm available. I want to see you grow. As a proud member of the 92, am taking my rest and investing specifically in folks that share lineage and experience with me. And so if you would like to reach out for a strategy call, I do offer a free strategy call to those who are looking for one. I want to thank you for spending a little bit of time with me tonight. I want to again thank Barter Black for the opportunity to hang out and you guys being flexible with me. I mean, I have not yet had such a demonstration that was so clear of what was going on with flexibility is king, and that is how we get to our goals. But it worked for us tonight, and I'm so glad that I could be with you. I want to thank you again for your time.